So Formula 4 is about to start. Another tip that not many people know is the depth of this racetrack itself is 2.8 meters. So that's roughly just under 10 feet. But that meets the requirements where if one of these boats was to flip over and become submerged, it is still deep enough for divers to get underneath, pop the capsule open and rescue the drivers out. As you'll see in some of the footage, all these drivers have air and breathing apparatuses within the boat itself, so if worse was to happen, they do still have air supplied until the rescue team and volunteers get to the drivers. They're situated out at each corner down here, monitored, so if anything was to happen, they'd be straight onto the scene. Formula 4 is about to get off underway now. As you can see from some of the drone footage and a little bit of my phone footage from the shore, that was Saturday practice for the Formula 4. And now they're just about to have the practice for Formula 1 backing into the water now. So I think they get a 45-minute practice heat just to iron out any bugs or issues, get used to the track, get used to their setups. So with the Australian Formula Motorboat GP, all boats in their categories have to meet a special criteria, and this is them weighing the boats now just to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to.
Coming down and see the Lions Club and get yourself a sausage sandwich or other food they've got down there. So come on down, there's plenty of it to have, choose from.
They've already had their practice run. This is their first official race for the afternoon. If Reese places, he should take out the championship, but we'll interview him later. Started like filming boat events and stuff like that, just to try and promote it a bit with the new technology and stuff. Come back.
Go up the beach, park in front of the crowd and wait till we're told to go.
this for a vantage point and for an event. Like, I'm literally standing on the shoreline of these boats going past. I could almost reach out and touch them. It's great to watch boat racing here. Like, I don't know how more people don't know about this place. Mate, if you're into boats, you definitely need to get out to Moree. They'll cater for anybody. If you want to hold an event, it's all supported by volunteers, the Moree community. We've got the Lions Club that does the catering. The whole community just bands together and makes this happen. So definitely support your local boating community. I look forward to hopefully putting together an event for Boats in the Hood here. And come check it out. If you can get here to anything that they have throughout the year, come here, bring the family, bring your dogs, your pets. There's heaps of accommodation. If you want to camp by the track, you can. It's amazing, and I'll keep bringing you more. Stay tuned.
saying that. It was real sticky. Yeah, it was real sticky.
One boat so far, the breaking ball is the drinking team have got. Really nice setup. And he's been running reliable, pretty fast in a few instances so far this season. But happens when you're racing hard at times. So he's out here this weekend.
Righto.
So Paul maybe had a bit of a bobble where we can't see him down the back there. And a couple of us had trouble out at the far end where we can't see. It just doesn't seem to be really making top speed either. Like it's going well. There's nothing.
I think you're right. Yep.
Better than, well, a little bit 53, 68.
488.
488.
Down.
So, I don't think Paul will be super happy with that. A bit better, but yeah, George, you can go back to 2.5. I'm going to keep that for a bit.
Reese has just done his qualifying run. I think he qualified with a low 52. I think the the current fastest lap time is a 49 second bracket lap. That is currently holding pole. So Reese has timed a 52, which is what the other boats are averaging. There's 10 boats in his field, so it looks like in his first race he's going to be starting in the middle of the pack, which is good. As I said to him, it'll get that fire in his belly going, and his true potential and skill will come out to shine. His team's just working on the boat at the moment. He was just saying that the boat felt slow on the water, just felt a bit sticky, so they're just going to go over their checks and routine maintenance, make sure everything's in order, and they're also checking the air with regards to the oxygen. Boats are just like drag cars, they perform differently with different atmospheric pressures, closer to sea level, high above sea level, and so forth. So they're going to run it up on the load wheel and just see what the motor's doing, see if they can make any improvements before the first actual race. Hopefully the cameras stay on. That Insta360 on the top, these boats just fly, so it's fallen over, but hopefully with the 360 shot we'll still get some good footage off that. And I've got the GoPro Max on the back there, which stayed on. Stay tuned.
The load wheel's on. Oh, Rick, there you know.
Have up Mick Beasley and Tony Clappus in their vintage and veteran boats, about to go for a run. Check them out. They're both running the straight 6 Tower of Powers, so it's good to see something a bit different.
Oh yeah, if not, get a fucking broom covered. We've got a bonfire tonight. There's a Storno doing that at Milton one year.
Vintage and veteran boats are about to leave the bank for their warm-up lap.
In a hurry putting everything together, I didn't undo my fuel breather, so I had a bit of fuel surge, but yeah, nah, it's all good. It's all good.
So Mick Beasley, that's racing in the vintage and veterans class in his tunnel boat. This is actually his son in front of me, Brad Beasley, who is racing in the Formula 4. That vintage and veteran class that Mick's in, that boat was actually raced before himself by his father, and is currently raced this weekend by Mick himself, and his son Brad has actually raced the boat as well. So that's 3 generations of races in the boat, which is pretty cool to see. Alright, so I'm here with Michael Beasley. I met him pretty randomly actually. I was going over the bridge at Nerang and I looked to my left and I seen this bullet tunnel deck with two blokes working on it, and I thought, geez, I got to go have a look at this. So then I went over and it happened to be Dave Kissel and Mike Beasley, and they were doing a little bit of tuning on his boat. And between then and now, here I am with Michael, and he's here with his boat, racing in the vintage and veterans category, is it?
Yeah, vintage and veterans, yeah.
Yep. So you want to tell us a bit about your boat?
The boat I got here this weekend is a boat I actually built with my dad when I was only 16 years old. So the boat was designed by a gentleman by the name of Brian Troy, which his grandson's actually here racing this weekend, Simon Troy. So so yeah, it's the boat was actually designed by a very famous family that has a massive history in powerboat racing. But yeah, I built that boat with Dad when I was 16. The boat got raced by my dad, myself, my two brothers. It's had a few different engines on it, from the straight 6 150 XS Merc that's got on it now. It's had a twister on it, and it's also had a V6 2-litre engine on it. So yeah, then the boat disappeared for, I don't know, 20 something years, and the guy who finally had it down south contacted me and said, I've got your boat. And I didn't know whether the boat still exists anymore or not, so anyway, he sent me some photos and I said, yeah, you got my old boat. So he said, I'm going to get rid of it, and I said, I'll take it back, and we've been running it same ever since, and it's here goes the roar of the F1s behind us.
Yeah.
I'm probably in the situation now we're about to gut the boat, restore it. It'll go back to being, the boat was originally called Sparks, so it'll go back to being called Sparks, and it'll have a Twister 2X on it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we've caught plenty of footage of you out there racing with Tony Clappis, who is part of the Speedboat Restorers Facebook page. And like you mentioned, it's great to see 3 generations have raced this boat. You don't see or hear of that very often.
No,
So
you don't. No. So with the 3rd generation, my nephew Brad actually jumped into the boat on Friday. That's the first time he's driven it.
yeah, sorry, I thought it was your son, Brad. So
No.
you've corrected me there. It's your
Yeah,
nephew,
that's my
but
nephew,
still
yeah.
3 generations of the same Beasley family. That's awesome. You never hear of that. And to have 3 generations of boat races.
It's awesome to have, you know. And Tony being a part of this weekend was great. So Tony's got a 15-foot adventure craft, which is originally designed and built by Neil McLeod.
Yeah, that's directly behind us. Obviously, we can film 360 now, so this is right here next to us as well.
So that boat, that style of boat, back in the late 70s, early 80s through to the 90s, was one of the most predominant style tunnel deck monos that ran in that 1750, 1800cc class. So yeah, and they've done an awesome job restoring that boat. It was great having us both run around out there. So it was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's good to see, and like I said, hopefully we get to see more of this sort of thing, and hopefully we can just bring more spectators and even more entrants to the boating community.
Totally. I am going to promote next year. Myself and Matty Russell, which is R&B Restos, they're going to actually promote the 1750, 1800cc class back in with the Formula Ones. So we're going to run with them next year for the 4 rounds, predominantly as a vintage and veteran setup, not so much racing, just more a display. Fingers crossed I can get 4 to 6 boats involved with that.
Yep.
So yeah, so we're pushing really hard for that. So yeah.
Yep. No, well, it's great to see you and great to catch up with you again, and I hope we can bump in and cross paths again in the near future.
Mate, totally, and everyone get out there and follow Boats in the Hood, eh?
Yeah, thanks very much. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Simon drove it the inside of that last lap on the back straight there.
I've had Caleb for that.
Thank them very much for their support of boat racing here in the township of Moree. WG, on outside of the boot, massive meals for Boatz.
Yep.
Can all drivers see the flags? All right. Ready to go?
We're getting close, Reese, so eyes on the flag.
Got the flag! Flags in the centre.
Get ready out.
First one down.
Done down.
So I'm here with Reese Coles from Reese Coles Racing. We've been fortunate enough to have him allow us to put some cameras on his boat and take us along for the ride. Reese is highly decorated when it comes to the Formula GP and F1 racing as a driver. This season, I believe in his first race he came second, and the second and third races he actually took it out and won. And so here we are at round 4, and his first heat he managed to pull another second. So it looks like you're up there at the top of the leaderboard, am I right?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, we're having a pretty good season. 2 races today to go, and you know, fingers crossed if we can keep getting valuable points, we should be in a really good position for taking out the championship this year.
For our viewers at home, do you just want to tell them a bit about the hull and the requirements of the motors to run this class?
So obviously it's a Formula 1 style tugboat. The class we run is called Formula GP. It's a stock class. The motors are either an Octamax motor or a 2.5 litre carburetted motor. Everything's stock internals, stock pistons, stock crankshaft, etc. On a racing quick foot and midsection, makes about 200 horsepower. Very reliable. I've run this motor all season without touching it or doing anything to it. And yeah, it makes about 200 horsepower, and the top speed's about 110 mile an hour.
Yep, yeah. And what sort of speeds are you cornering at as well?
So we see up to sort of 4 to 5 Gs in the turns, and generally it's probably, you know, we're turning probably over 100 kilometres an hour through the turns.
Yep. And so the field itself, they're all pretty close. Obviously, it would just come down to a few components, say driver, prop selection, and tuning.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, it certainly comes down to, you know, the ability to drive the boat, have the boat on the edge and off the water, to get the most performance out of the boat, the right propeller, the right tune-up on the engine. All those factors come into play, into potentially winning a round or a race.
And I'd like to thank you for inviting us along for the ride and putting us in the driver's seat to see what it's all about. And like I said, you're right up there. You seem to be the benchmark for everybody chasing you. And we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, mate. And yeah, glad you guys come on board, and hopefully get some more footage, and hopefully have a great weekend.
And while I've also got you here, what do you think about the Moree Waterpark facility itself?
Yeah, look, the facility is fantastic. You know, the people are really good here. It's a great facility, and yeah, we're all having a great time.
Flags are going up. 2 flags. 1 down.
So there'll be a lot going on out there at the moment, a lot of options. There's this boat.